For today's video, we are going to be talking about Wario and Waluigi! Yes, so for today's video, we are actually going to be talking about Wario and Waluigi, right? Specifically, what can we expect from them in the next Super Mario Bros. Movie, right? How exactly could Nintendo and Illumination introduce them in the next movie, right? How could they play out, right? Could we expect some things differently in the movie itself compared to the games themselves, right? And if that could be the case, could it be the concept and idea of that whatever they do in the movie, Nintendo in the games might actually think, you know what, that's actually a good idea, right? We should have done that all along. Now, truth be told, that's probably not going to be the case, but really, you have to really wonder, okay? So let's start off with this, right? Let's start off with explaining who the two characters are, okay? So Wario and Waluigi are basically seen as the rivals to Mario and Luigi themselves, right? They're basically viewed as their doppelganger in the sense, okay? Especially when you look at how their names work, alright? Both Wario and Waluigi's names are basically just Mario and Luigi's names with the Japanese word Warui mixed into it, which basically means bad, okay? So hence, bad Mario, bad Luigi, okay? That's sort of how the concept of their names actually work, okay? Now, to understand something here, Wario first made his appearance in Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, okay? But Waluigi, he made his first appearance in Mario Tennis 64, okay? Now, the interesting thing here is to really ask and wonder exactly how they could be introduced, okay? And what exactly could they actually do, okay? There are a few other things to actually go over, or to really get into understanding, okay? So another key thing to actually point out on Wario and Waluigi specifically is that in terms of the games themselves, they're not actually brothers in the sense of Mario and Luigi, right? Like, even Charles Martinet, the original voice actor for Mario, Luigi, and even Wario and Waluigi, even stated that he basically stated that he didn't even know that they were brothers, right? He just felt like they were two nice evil guys who found each other, okay? And Nintendo has never officially ever declared them to be related in the sense. And it seems that most bio pages that you ever read off of games, like game guides and like that, or even video game descriptions like that, always state that Wario and Waluigi are not related in the sense of Mario and Luigi, who are brothers, okay? They're basically seen as just two random separate guys who just end up bumping into each other and just realize, you know, we have a lot in common, right? Which in itself is weird, because this is just me, right? And I'm sure there are other people out there who would very much like it, right? But to me personally, I really do feel like Wario and Waluigi are actually related, right? Like, there are too many similarities to not even really consider the idea that they have to be somehow related to each other, or even if it's not a direct relationship, okay? I mean, you could even do the whole notion of, say, like, they're half-brothers, okay? Like, they have the same father, but different mothers, okay? Where Mario and Luigi are both full brothers like that. They share the same mom and dad, but yet you can probably do the consideration here where Wario and Waluigi, they have the same dad, but maybe different moms, okay? Maybe that could be something, okay? But really looking into it like that, we might really take consideration of how Nintendo and Illumination could actually take this within the movies themselves, okay? So let's actually look over a few things in terms of, like, the guys themselves, okay? Because I really want to go over a few things in general, okay? So when it comes to it, and this isn't like everything, and so this is just a few things to actually go over, okay? So one thing to point out here is this, okay? So in Mario Tennis 64, like that there was a guide that basically stated that Waluigi is Wario's little brother. Now, this obviously is pretty understandable and like that, because a lot of times with these guides, they're written by third-party sources, and then sometimes you might not always get what what Nintendo is basically providing on the description of these things, so sometimes you have to basically sort of give your own credence for it, okay? Another thing to point out here is that in Mario Sonic at the Tokyo Olympic Games, things like that, it states on Waluigi's bio when it comes to Wario that it states one thing: they are not related, okay? So there's another thing to actually point out here where it states that they're not related. You also have a description that basically states that Waluigi is Wario's sidekick and Luigi's biggest rival, or so he thinks, okay? Another thing to list is that for the Smash trophies, it will basically state that his relationship to Wario is a mystery or unclear. But if we look at some other things, we also have this other description from the Mario Tennis guide in general that states that when it comes to Waluigi, it says, finally, Luigi gets his very own arch-rival, like Wario is to Mario, Waluigi is to Luigi. And then if we look at Wario's description of the same thing, it says, now with an equally nasty partner, Wario can despise Mario and Luigi with his new pal, Waluigi. Now, it's important to understand here that sometimes, like I mentioned with these guide things like that, they can be accurately wrong because they're sometimes written by other party sources that don't always actually receive the actual true source of itself, and sometimes they're basically just writing things, and then sometimes these translations could be vaguely mistranslated and like that, okay? Like, for instance, right, if we take a look at the Daisy situations like that, if we look at Daisy's, it says that she is hailing from Super Mario World. However, she didn't appear in Super Mario World, she appeared in Super Mario Land, okay? So maybe that could actually mean something, and who knows? knows, right? There had been this like leaked rumor that the next Super Mario Bros. 2 movie is supposed to be called Super Mario World. I don't know if that's true or not. I suppose it could be true. And hey, if Daisy's actually going to appear here, then maybe this is just someone who predicted the future and they didn't even know it. Okay. All right. So let's actually go over a few ideas. Right? Let's actually look at some general ideas to really get an understanding of exactly what Nintendo and Illumination could actually do for Wario and Waluigi in the next movie, okay? Let's look at some options, okay? So, the first option I want to look at is the brothers option, right? What if they actually do decide to make Wario and Waluigi brothers in the same vein of how Mario and Luigi are, right? Maybe they could do something like that, right? And it is possible that they could. And I did mention at the beginning of the video that they could do the whole half-brothers route, right? Maybe it doesn't have to be the full brothers, okay? And maybe you can even do the whole concept of, like, you know, these, they basically grew up together, right? They've known Mario Luigi ever since they were little children, okay? Maybe you can say they went to the same schools together, right? Maybe you can say they went to the same academy together, okay? I mean, yeah, why not just say they both went to Plumber's Academy, okay? Why not just say they went to the Plumber's Academy, okay? Really, makes a lot of sense, right? Makes sense to you, makes sense to me, right? I think we're all on the same board here, okay? But, in a sense, it is also really questionable, okay? So, if by chance they don't go with the whole brothers route, maybe they can do another type of route to, like, Family Connection, okay? So what if they did, like, cousins to Mario and Luigi, okay? So in terms of, like, Mario Mountain and stuff like that, there have been times where Wario has stated to be a cousin of Mario and Luigi, okay? If we could do something in that vein, where Wario and Waluigi are cousins to Mario and Luigi, but they're not necessarily brothers to each other, okay? So take into consideration here that Wario is, you know, for instance, right, Wario is a cousin on the Mario Brothers side. Wario is a cousin on the dad's side of the Mario's family, while Waluigi is a cousin from the mom's side of the family, okay? You know, something like that, okay? Where these two are not necessarily brothers to each other, but they're cousins to the Mario brothers in general, and because they grew up with the M, despising the M, they basically sort of had like a general view of like their despising them, okay? And then who knows? Like maybe one idea you can look at of how the movie could actually begin is with celebration of declaring Mario and Luigi notable heroes after the events of what happened when Bowser and, you know, the whole situation of Brooklyn and stuff like that, and defeating Bowser and saving the day, you know, that whole scenario here, okay? And then maybe Wario and Waluigi can basically feel jealousy that these two are being treated like heroes, and they feel like they should actually get that attention, right? And they want to be able to have their own popularity and basically be recognized as great, outstanding people. You know, something like that, okay? However, I do have other options to go over, okay? So, what if we did some type of clone situation, okay? What if they decide to introduce Wario and Waluigi in the sense of, like, them being clones to Mario and Luigi, right? Could they take the concept of the double cherry power-up, right? And maybe turn it into something negative, okay? I mean, the Super Mushroom does have its own unique, like, some of the mushrooms and stuff like that do have their own unique, negative twist on them, okay? Where they have their own opposite effect, okay? So, in the instance, you know, you have the Super Mushroom, but then you also have the Poison Mushroom, okay? Even with the Mega Mushroom, you have the Mini Mushroom, okay? You have these different variants of them with their negative opposite effects, okay? So what if the idea here is that, you know, look into consideration of the double cherry, right? Which basically makes a clone of yourself, okay? What if there is basically the bad double cherry, okay? Which basically creates a doppelganger clone, right? Or a bad clone of yourself, okay? Which basically could result in Wario and Waluigi being basically being cloned from Mario and Luigi themselves, okay? And then maybe there's a situation where they don't actually disappear, right? Where they're basically in remained effect. Maybe that's something. Another thing we can look at is some type of wonder effect, okay? What if the idea of them introducing or featuring the Wonder Flower in the next movie, okay? What if we take the idea that Wario and Waluigi are basically spawned off of some type of wonder effect, okay? And keep in mind, right? When it comes to the wonder effects, there are three. Well, hold on. See, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's only three. There might be a fourth one, but I can't really necessarily remember, okay? But to put it simple, when it comes to the wonder effects in general, not the types of wonder effects or what the wonder effect does, but what I'm basically referring to is how the... is exactly the wonder... It'd be easier if I just said it like this, okay? So, for instance, right, you have some wonder effects that are on a timer, okay? These are limited timers where you have to get the wonder seed as soon as possible, okay? You have your wonder effects that basically keep you locked in place where you can't continue until you get to the wonder seed, okay? So you have those wonder effects where you can't actually leave until you get the wonder seed, okay? And then you have the wonder effects that basically last forever, whenever, and do not end, no matter how many times they go, right? And matter of fact, you can actually continue on. You don't even have to get the Wonder Seed if you don't want to. You can just go in and get the flagpole, okay? So the whole instance here is that with the Wonder Flowers is that you have to actually attain the Wonder Seed in order to end the Wonder Effect, okay? So what if we take consideration here where the Wonder Flower has created doppelgangers of Wario Waluigi, basically being cloned or basically coming off of Mario and Luigi themselves. Wario and Waluigi managed to find the Wonder Seed, hide it, get rid of it, resulting in Mario and Luigi not able to end the Wonder Effect, resulting in Wario and Waluigi being here and being remaining forever. Maybe that's something, and that would be an interesting uniqueness to it, okay? Another possibility to look at for an idea is that what if we look at something like to do with Kamek, okay? What if there could be some type of spell that Kamek does, right? Could Kamek basically cast a spell transforming Mario and Luigi into Wario and Waluigi, right? Or basically create a spell that actually results in them actually splitting in half, kind of like another version of the clone aspect at creating a doppelganger of themselves, okay? And then lastly, for this other one, we could look at the idea of maybe an alternate timeline, okay? What if there's a situation here where, say, like, for instance, Kamek, or there's a bit of a time travel, okay? There's a bit of a time traveling aspect to it. Kamek basically goes back in time, kidnaps Mario and Luigi, and basically they're, when they're children like that, and they're raised within the Mushroom Kingdom like that by Bowser's army, where they were basically given the names Wario and Waluigi, right? Maybe that's something, okay? And you know what, while we're on the topic of it, it's like that, while I'm basically mentioning that act, which I don't really think the whole idea of kidnapping children is like that is going to be the best thing to do. I mean, I suppose they could, but I really don't think that's the option they're going to go with, okay? But just to throw something in here that I feel like could be really important, okay? So, when looking at Peach's backstories like that, in the movie itself, okay? When you're watching the movie, and then when Peach and Mario are having their conversation in the Field of Fire Flowers, Peach basically recalls her earliest memory of how she actually arrived here and the whole situation of like how she met the Toads and how they basically raised her and stuff like that, you know, that whole scenario, okay? What if by chance you look at that scene and it really does bring an interesting question to you, right? Imagine the whole scenario if it wasn't the Toads that actually found Peach, right? What if it was the Koopa Troopas who found Peach, right? What if it was Kamek who found Peach, okay? And, you know, with the whole idea of, like, really giving out the idea and the impression of how Wario and Waluigi could be related in the next movie, or even how they could actually be maybe, like, clones to Mario and Luigi in the next movie itself, is an interesting concept. And it's not just that, but with the movies themselves, they're basically introducing or basically delivering things that you don't typically see in the games themselves, okay? Like, for instance, like, the way the movie is being portrayed is more of, like, a nod or more of, like, an inspirational nod to the original Super Mario Brothers Super Show and stuff like that, right? And is anyone familiar with that? I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it, okay? Come on, you're not familiar with it? I mean, come on, alright? Don't you know? Duel of Mario! Swing your hips to side to side! That was probably a terrible impression, okay? But seriously, okay? So, and yes, there are a lot of nod references to the games themselves, okay? But what I'm trying to imply here is that for the differences and the creativities that they're basically doing, you can even see some other things that they could do, right? Like, take for instance, okay? In the Mario Kart Wii guide and stuff, it states that on Daisy's bio that she's Peach's cousin, okay? With the whole situation of, like, Peach herself randomly just arriving in this world, being a lost child, not knowing where she comes from, you never know. They could actually do the whole concept where Peach and Daisy are indeed cousins to each other, okay? That could be a possibility. We don't know that for sure, but it is something that could be done. And even looking at it, there are so many other things that you can probably notice as well, right? Like, for instance, in the movie itself, when you're looking at Toad, you might notice that he is very, like, he has some many unique similarities to Captain Toad himself, okay? So could it be the idea of combining these two characters together because it reflects more and gives more of a general idea for the actual audience itself, okay? That's something to take into consideration here, okay? So, overall, I don't actually specifically know what Nintendo Illumination can actually do for Wario and Waluigi in the next movie, right? It's really hard to tell, but there are so many situations to really ask and consider how exactly could they be introduced, right? What can we expect from them? What can we expect to see them do, right? Like, for instance, okay? Like, another idea I sort of gave is that back in one of my previous Daisy videos, I mentioned that because, like, the whole, like, say for instance, okay? When you first meet Wario, his game that he appears in, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, the objective for Mario is to obtain 6 golden coins because Wario has taken over Mario's castle. The whole castle thing wouldn't make a lot of sense, so I took the consideration here, what if they actually make it to where Wario and Waluigi take over Daisy's palace instead? Basically resulting in them having to go save Daisy and reclaim her palace, okay? Maybe that's something. It is possible. I don't actually know if that's what they're going to do, but you have to really look at it and you have to really consider, you know what, that might be the best option, okay? But before I really officially completely end off in this video, okay, there is something that really needs to be said, very important here, okay? So let me basically state this, okay? When it comes to Luigi himself, right? Luigi is definitely seen as, you know, a coward when it comes to like monsters, ghosts, and, you know, undead skeletons and stuff like that, okay? And he does have a bit of his moments where he definitely has the courage to basically fight back, okay? But he is basically seen as a coward in a sense, okay? But one thing's for sure is that one thing we definitely need to know and that Nintendo Illumination needs to actually keep in place is this, okay? That when Luigi meets Waluigi for the very first time, or when they're actually having their moments like that, when they're actually just interacting or they're basically meeting, we need to make sure that Nintendo Illumination basically states this very carefully, that Luigi is not afraid of Waluigi, right? They need to make sure that Luigi says this in the movie. Yeah, that needs to be said in the movie, alright? I mean, I can't be the only one who actually thinks that Waluigi, when he actually meets Luigi for the first time, Luigi is just looking at him, and Luigi is just saying, Luigi not afraid. Luigi not afraid. Yeah, that's it, alright? That is exactly it, okay? Alright. Overall, I think that will do it for today's video, alright? So, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you could actually have an opportunity to join me for today's video, alright? So, my name is 4D Clif, okay? So, yes, a bit of a quick note there, okay? I actually changed my channel name, okay? So, my channel name is actually going to be 4D Clif, okay? Which, in hindsight, is literally just my name, but basically rearranged, right? To put it simple, I decided to make it more of like unique One Piece type names like that because, you know, I like doing sometimes One Piece videos like that, and it's been a while since I've actually done a One Piece video. I thought, you know what, why not actually do something to actually reflect, you know, like the will of D, right? Maybe there's something I can give myself the D name in my name, okay? So I just took the my name, Clifford, and just rearrange the letters to make 4D Clif, okay? So just to clarify, that's not 4D Clif, right? That's not 4 as in the number 4, then D Clif, right? It's not 4D Clif as in 4D Clif. No, right? No. It's 4D Clif. But to be honest here, you can still call me Clifford. That's still great. That's still fine. I'm perfectly fine with it, okay? Overall, thank you so much for joining me for today's video, right? If you liked what I had to say, liked anything I had to provide in the statements or anything in this conversation, please let me know in the comment section below, right? Feel free to hit notification bells, subscribe to the channel, and do whatever you need to do, right? If you even need to lay down your own thoughts and ideas and predictions on what you think a Nintendo Illuminations could introduce for Wario Waluigi in the next movie, then please let me know. So, thank you. You all have a great day, and see you on the next video. Goodbye, everybody!